welcome back to Words and Pictures for an episode of Books. It's been a while since we've had a Books episode. If you're at all interested in altered books, in art journals, or in handmade books, do take a look at the Books playlist here, because there are lots and lots of flip-throughs, of ideas for handmade books, of ideas for altered books, and altered book journals in that playlist. I'll link it in the description below. I have not had a chance to catch up with myself, really, even since coming back from delivering the PaperArtsy ArtsyCrafts retreat in France in June of this year, 2026. An extraordinary week spent at PaperArtsy headquarters with participants from around the world, and I led them in a merry dance of playing with ideas, techniques, projects, products, all kinds of things. And towards the end of the week, we started putting those elements together, or bringing those elements together in altered hardback books. So fairly book standard hardback books, in some cases some lovely vintage ones, but using the papers, the techniques, the ideas, the elements that we'd been creating throughout the week, and starting to build them into pages in the book. So I thought I'd give you a little glimpse inside where I got to. Obviously, I was running around the room looking at things and suggesting things and offering things up. So I think other people got a lot further on than I did, and you can see around on the desk, I still have lots and lots, I mean sheaves of papers and prints and stamped elements, fabrics, rusted elements, laces, papers, fabrics, old book pages, tissue papers. What else did we do? All kinds of things with watercolour papers, my new stamps, which at that point had not been revealed to the world at large, and the people on the retreat got to have a first play with those. And we also did some little mini landscapes and little mini grid works. And then, yeah, the building together into the end of the week was about just each person working with their own style, with their own ways of bringing those things together. I also picked up some beautiful vintage things in the brocants. So this was a vintage dishcloth kind of affair, just gorgeous fabric. This ribbon rolled together with paper. So I've got not only the whole roll of ribbon, I've got the paper it's interleaved with, and I think this might become an ephemera stamp at some point in the near future. Old books, all kinds of things. Yeah, some more of the landscapes and trees and all of that kind of business. So what I want to say before I do this is, in some cases I've started gluing things into these pages. In other cases I really just hurled some of the bits and bobs together, thinking they might become some kind of a page in the future. You can see the cover has already got rusted bits, stamped fabrics, printed rusted fabrics, all kinds of things that we were getting up to over the course of the week, painted papers. And yeah, so some of these have made it into pages, and they are stuck down. Just amazing textures in that print. Some places I've still got completely blank pages, and lots still to do. Gathered grasses that got painty, backgrounds. So in this case I've just kind of hurled those in there because I think they might become some kind of a page in future. We also played, I think, yes, by the time you see this, the video, I will have shared the video about putting white hydrangeas onto matint backgrounds. So I'll link to that below as well, and you can create something similar to that. Again, just throwing in some bits and bobs here, ready to become a page. I'm sort of feeling like that might be a good combination. Let's see what else I got up to. Okay, these staples are a good sign that something went on this page spread. There we go. So I would say that's probably a completed page spread. There are rusted fabrics, there are real grasses, there are stamped grasses, there are words, which, yes, for me is one of the necessary things, and some of my own relatives in the photos. We had a play with textured walls, so that gives us that on that page with grasses growing, little snippets. And yes, there are the new stamps in action. Really nice to play. Obviously, we have been doing a series of white flowers recently, so I'll also link the white flowers playlist down below, and you can have a look at some things like that. That, I would say, is also a fairly completed page. Little snippets, layers of stamping, mop-up paint. That's just a mop-up page ready for something to go on it, or not, depending. Oh, here we go. I was massively inspired by the shutters in the Dordogne in beautiful shades of blue and green, weathered paint looks. That's PaperArtsy Crackle Glaze. That's some more of the little grids we created, and some rusted tissue. All kinds of things. Is there anything on this page? No, it's another blank one. That's another part-way page, I would say. Some lavender stems, some simple grassy stamping, but lots of opportunity to add photos. There's a little bit of hydrangea stenciling. Soft, shadowy. That might be finished. It might not want any more than that. That definitely will get something else. That's some real grasses onto gessoed pages. More rusted tissue, more mop-ups. So, yeah, having the book nearby all the way through the week meant that as things were created, sometimes they would be added straight into the book. Sometimes it was a question of collecting for later and adding things in. That page might be done for me. That's simple, elegant, thanks to the grasses. What else have we got? Yep, another little landscape in there. And some rusted tissue, a little snippet, some beautiful seed pods that one of the participants collected. Salty backgrounds, and again, my grandmother in there. Lovely bits of texture just in there. It's such a deliciously tactile book. Oh, I must show you the cover properly when we're done here. Sunrise sunset colours. Oh, are you going to... I've obviously closed that book and put it in my suitcase before those grasses were fully dry. There, we're good. It's all good. Rescued. Again, waiting for more things to happen, I would suggest, that page. Lovely grassiness, echoes of real grasses and stamped grasses on each side. More prints. Again, gorgeous textures in there. Really tasty. There's another little sunrise sunset postcard. Again, take a look in the link below if you want to see how to do something similar. More textures, ooh, with paint over. I'm trying to balance between trying to catch the light so you can see it and holding it still enough so that you can see it. I think that's a really rock solid group of pages. Oh, see, it's so amazing coming back to this after, what is it? It's 6 weeks now since I was there. It feels like months and months. We were in the Dordogne, and of course since then that area of France has been suffering horribly from heat waves. The actual forest fires a little bit further over from where PaperArtsy HQ are, so they've so far been safe, but the heat was starting to kick in just as I left, and really I left just in time to avoid the worst of it. I just love the simplicity of those little swatches and including them as elements in a journal page. There we go. Lots of lovely layers. Stamped fabric, which is still nice and loose. I think maybe I hadn't decided whether that was going in there or not. I think it probably does go in there somewhere, but I'm not quite sure where yet. Bit of stencil flipping going on with my new leafy stencil. More grassy stampings. You can see meadow grasses were a big feature of the week. So here's another page that's just kind of, I threw in some bits and bobs, thinking that they went well together, and they're waiting for me to have a chance to come back and play. Ooh, look, laciness, really rusty little keyhole, again picked up from a leftover box of rusty stuff. That's a phenomenal piece of grass, just as it is. Might not need anything else. There's another of those little postcards. That's a real sunset one, isn't it? Look at that, real contrasts of colours. Let's have a look. I think we're starting to, yeah, we're towards the end of the book now. You can see, I mean, I just love the chunkiness of those pages. When you're altering a book journal, I've mentioned this in other books episodes, you can absolutely take some pages out, partly to use the papers for other things, and that will mean that your book doesn't end up being quite so chunky dory. But I really love that in an altered book journal. There's one of my new roses. I think that's going to be gorgeous with some rusty fabric and rusty tissue. More little painted lavender, shadows, more grasses. I think at this point I was just trying to get the grasses stuck in. Yeah, sunset, maybe, sunrise. Ooh, look, there's my grandparents. Some roses, bits of salty watercolour paper, tissue paper, all kinds of possibilities, again, for a future page. I think it's really nice, if you've got lots of elements, to just throw some things together, as I've done here, as a reminder of something that was going through your head at the time. If you haven't got time to fully work it through at the time, just put some bits and bobs together and see when you come back whether that's something that still feels like you want it to happen. And sometimes you'll get a really clear no message. No thank you, don't want to be on this page. Sometimes you'll get something saying, oh yeah, oh look. So again, stamped fabric, printed papers, stamped hydrangeas, rusted tissue, all kinds of things just waiting to become a page together in there. And I think that might be it for the interior. Oh yes, on the inside page there. So the inside covers have each got those prints, which I think is a really nice starting and end point. And then the cover, yeah, just again, those elements created over the course of the week, just bringing them together so that you get an album which reflects, a journal which reflects some of what went on. But as I said, I've got so much more to play with, and over the course of time, when I've got nothing else going on, I will start to bring some of those pages together. But I've got those elements kind of thrown in, ready to play with. The handmade watercolour paper, just a joy to work on, really adding texture all of its own. So these were picked up at the paper mill just down the road from PaperArtsy headquarters. So I know not everybody could come and join us for that week in France, magical creative week, but I hope that gives you a little taster of the kinds of things we got up to and the kind of magic you can build when you've got time and a beautiful creative room and inspiring landscape, delicious food, wonderful hosting, and lovely people to play with. Thank you so much for your company. Check out those links in the description below for the Books playlist, the White Flowers playlist, and those matint postcards, those glowing sunrise sunset postcards. They're part of the White Flowers playlist. Thank you, as always, for your company on this creative journey. It's a joy to hear from you. So leave comments, questions, thoughts below in the comment section. And I'll wish you all a very happy Books Wednesday.